The shadow president rises. So you're going to be so glad you tuned in today because things are transpiring around us that are changing the very face of politics. Of course, these storylines are being hidden from you as always because they go against the agenda that they want to propagate. But out of darkness has now emerged this anti-pope of politics. He's not rising alone, though. No, he brings with him an army of kings. An army being built to be so strong and so powerful that the face of politics will be changed forever. My name is Justice Knight, co-host of Restricted Republic, today filling in for Lisa Haven. Right now, it's more important than ever to secure your retirement. We don't know what the future looks like. With the spending out of control that the government is doing, we can only guess that there's going to be a negative impact on our retirement funds. But you can take those matters into your own hands. Right now, with every approved gold and silver-backed IRA account, you're going to get this amazing Gold Eagle coin. And I hope you got a good view of that. Show you the other side of it real fast. An amazing offer, an amazing company. Once again, noblegoldinvestments.com. Also, I want to ask you a huge favor. I want to make Lisa's day today. As you know, Lisa and I created RestrictedRepublic.com. We still have the discount code FREEDOM. Simply enter the discount code at checkout. Also, 14 days to look under the hood. I would love to bring Lisa as many new subscribers as possible. Put a smile on her face so when she's back with you tomorrow, we make sure she's got all the energy she always brings to the broadcast to bring you the truth. There's going to be an unveiling of an article tomorrow that will substantiate everything we told you. Everything we told you about something you're not allowed to talk about anywhere else anymore, but it goes back over a year. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, Lisa will throw a link up right now. We certainly hope you will. Back to this broadcast. Biden's first 100 days. Promises kept, promises broken, or promises in progress coming out of your mainstream media, in particular ABC News, but not who we're going to discuss today. You could tell things are occurring because all of a sudden these unusual search and seizures are occurring. But they're occurring so fast that they even have to propagate false storylines. The conspiracy theorists themselves, which is, as you see here, Washington Post, New York Times, and NBC, has to retract the reports on Giuliani. No, I guess he really didn't get that information from the FBI about Russia up front. Oops. Sorry, we just scammed the American people again, but luckily you're here at Restricted Republic, so we'll always shine the light of truth on every storyline. So bad is it that they have to propagate even false percentages. New CBS poll shows 85% of viewers approve of President Biden's speech to Congress. Are we certain of that? Have you looked at the dislikes and likes in his own videos? Well, of course, we have Hollywood, and Rob Reiner in particular just being one who sees on that storyline and decide that they want to, put some artistic license into it. Create the very falsehoods that they blame everybody else for creating. 85% of Americans approve of what President Biden had to say in his address to the nation. Oh, Rob, are you sure? Are you positive? Are you lying to us once again to push your own agenda? How bad must it be? I'm going to show you who actually argues with him back. You're going to be shocked. The most unlikely source that comes out and counters that narrative is Snopes. Remember that people who watch the speech does not mean all Americans. Yes, that's right. Snopes is now countering their own side's agenda. Well, maybe because the facts are becoming overwhelming. Most popular president in U.S. history, well, until you look a little bit closer and you start to realize that those dislikes versus likes, well, those just simply aren't lining up with the mainstream narrative. It's becoming so overabundant that even Snopes comes out and has to declare the statement of 85% of Americans approve of U.S. Joe Biden's first speech before a joint session of Congress. Absolutely false. They take it a step further beyond the false. They even go directly to Rob Reiner's tweet, calling it misleading. Oh, how the tide has turned, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. The tide is turning. Now, they're going to continue to try to break the hearts of America. They're going to continue to try to boggle the minds of America. We can't allow them to box us in because the facts are contrary to what they are reporting to you. Because the real facts are this. TV ratings for presidential addresses. Trump 17, 48 million. In 18, 46 million. In 19, 36 million. In 20, 37 million. And Biden, 11,600,000. But if we go backwards, it appears CBS had no problem in 2017 being very clear that viewers strongly approve of Trump's speech to Congress. Boy, there was no spin-off of that one by any Rob Reiners. Now, was there? No, of course not, because it didn't work for their narrative. So let's go to the main article now. And this anti-Pope of politics rising, because he was quiet for a little while. More than likely tired, beat down from everything that occurred. Politico put out this article, Trump's battle to win the first 100 days. The former president has been on an increasingly manic crusade to knock his successor and buff his own battered legacy. We'd expect nothing else from Politico, but we're going to put the truth spin on this. And not the truth spin of the first 100 days of the Biden presidency, which Politico put out also, and you see, of course, the storyline's much different. All the success that he's gone through, all the amazing things that Biden has done, but Trump gets this picture. Obviously, not very complimentary, but they don't care about being complimentary to, as they put it, the ex-president. The anti-Pope of Mar-a-Lago. What a medieval religious schism can teach us about Donald Trump's unprecedented and radically antagonistic approach to the ex-presidency. Such big words. Let me drop that out of the way real quick so you get a full view of this screen. I want to just put the two articles up there to give you context as to where we're going to go. He's not working on a memoir, and he's not putting into motion a presidential library after the Oval activities that are nothing if not conventional, but also acknowledgments of a change in status to more was than is. Trump, on the other hand, isn't acting like a has-been. He's acting like a still here. Indeed, ramping up of late the volume and frenzy of his declarations, he is trying not only to not fade like any other former leader of the free world, but to stoke his considerable remaining political sway. His first 100 days out of office, a brazen continuation of his lack of a concession in the wake of his defeat. You must admit defeat. You must be quiet. You must be silenced. Almost desperate in the Politico tone. It's desperate for a reason. This search and seizure of Rudy Giuliani, a desperate attempt again. And why are they so desperate? Because this anti-Pope of politics is raising an army of kings. He's finding he has talents elsewhere, and he's now utilizing those talents. There will be this kind of shadow ex-president, Lawrence Douglas. They wanted him to fade into the woodwork. They wanted him to disappear. They didn't want to see him anymore, but of course, he announces the office of the former president, which will carry on the agenda of his administration. Of course, that was of great concern. He put out a statement. Palm Beach County, Florida. Today, the 45th president of the United States, Donald Trump, formally opened the office of the former president. The office will be responsible for managing President Trump correspondence, public statements, appearances, and official activity to advance the interests of the United States and to carry on the agenda of the Trump administration through advocacy, organizing, and public activism. President Trump will always and forever be a champion for the American people. And then he starts his onslaught. It was slow at first. He had to recover, obviously. Trump endorses Sarah Huckabee Sanders for Arkansas governor. He's building his army of kings. That's not where it stopped. Trump endorses Jerry Moran of Kansas despite criticism after a Capitol riot. CNN, Trump endorses primary opponent to Ohio Republican who voted for impeachment. I show you this article because the gentleman he endorsed is nowhere on this screen, nor mentioned in the title, nor in the picture. And when you go down, he still doesn't remain anywhere within the write-up. Former President Donald Trump on Friday endorsed a primary challenger running against Ohio Representative Anthony Gonzalez. And why did they do that? Because they don't want you to know that the challenger's name is down here. He's not highlighted, Max Miller. No, they don't want to bring any attention to any of this army of kings that Trump is assembling because they fully well know what he's doing and they know the American people are against the current administration, at least those American people that they wish no longer be represented. But that's a problem for the mainstream media and the administration as a whole. But Trump told you exactly what he was going to do. They just ignored it like they always do.
And that's why I'm announcing that I will be actively working to elect strong, tough, and smart Republican leaders.
I wanted you to hear that chant in the background, USA, USA, because the mainstream media doesn't want you to ever believe that again. They want that gone. They want that moniker out of the way. It's an inconvenience. But I don't know if you had a chance to see my video just a couple days ago. 8 million went missing overnight. Biden and Pelosi in a panic. And why? Because 8.9 million people just left their states to go to red state strongholds. The tide is turning. Don't let anybody, again, tell you otherwise. I feel so strongly because we can't just give up hope. So Trump continues on now. Trump continues on because he's not done. He's picking up pace now. He's moving into March. Trump endorses South Carolina's Tim Scott. He goes further. Trump endorses Louisiana Senator John Kennedy for re-election. He endorses Senator Mike Crapo of Idaho. Trump endorses Senator John Boozman for his 2022 bid. Told you, he doesn't slow down. No, he's picking up pace again. He's coming back into the fold. Trump endorses Jody Hice to run against Raffensperger for Georgia's Secretary of State. You didn't think he would forget what he did you? Oh no, he's building his army of kings. CNN Politics, now he reaches out to Herschel Walker asking him to run for Senate, which I agree with. Again, strengthening the GOP to what it should be. This anti-Pope of politics goes into full tilt, and he gets called out for it. In April, the onslaught only intensified, according to Politico, because now he goes after everything. He goes scorched earth. This Saturday, he decried woke cancel culture, and then, with no apparent irony, calls for boycotts of baseball, Coke, Delta, and other major companies after Georgia passed restrictive voting laws Republicans insisted were necessary reforms. We will not be a socialist nation, he said. Happy Easter. Boy, what terrible words that they claim to be so horrendous. If Joe Biden wants to keep our country safe from radical Islamic terrorism, he said before his sit-down with Sean Hannity, he should reinstitute the foreign country travel ban. What a horrific statement. What did they declare here? An onslaught, only intensified. Of course, now the Biden administration is trying to tone everything down. They won't even use Trump's name. It shall not be spoken. The other guy. Because every time his name resonates through those halls, it sends through a shockwave, chills up the spine of the party that's trying to now tax us into oblivion, spend beyond any imagination, throw us into the arms of socialism. Trump's words will defeat them. And then he puts in one of the strongest shots to date. Trump says Florida Governor Ron DeSantis would be considered as his 2024 running mate. You can only imagine the implosions that you heard throughout Congress. This party strengthening beyond imagination. Oh, he wasn't done. That wasn't enough. Trump blasts Liz Cheney's polling as so low, calling her a warmongering fool. Trump condemns Arizona Governor Ducey for failing to provide security for the 2020 election audit. He calls out LeBron James, saying he should focus on basketball, which we all most certainly agree with. Trump mocks politically correct and boring Oscars over low ratings, and which none of us watch because we don't listen to Hollywood. These television people spend all their time thinking about how to promote the Democrat Party, which is destroying our country, and cancel conservatives and Republicans. That formula certainly hasn't worked very well for the Academy, and it hasn't, and the ratings are down. And why? Because the actual majority is reacting. Trump sees this and will seize on this to help build his kings. In the very red states, his name still means something. Former Trump attorney and fixer Michael Cohen told me everything else irrelevant. Of course Michael Cohen would say that, but Michael, you must remember that there are 74 million people or so that voted for President Trump. Those 74 million people will no longer allow their voices to be silenced or quieted. 8.9 million moving to assure that they, once again, never have their voices silenced. Those red states will become strongholds, no matter what anybody attempts to do. And you see the laws now being passed in those states to assure that could never happen again. So this kingmaker, this anti-Pope of politics, President Trump, is again rising. Now, my most important question to you. Do you want to see Trump be the next presidential candidate? Or would you prefer someone else within the GOP and allow Trump to continue to make his kings? It's a tough question, but one that really deserves an answer from you. We want to see that in the comments below. We want to see a healthy debate around this, because not only is the shadow president rising, oh no, there's a shadow movement rising. Conservatism will not be lost. It will become louder, more brazen, more direct in its approach. No longer shall we sit back and just wait. No, we must be active in our local, state, and federal election processes. We must continue to promote those candidates that truly care about the values that we care about. We can't just simply throw away any hope. That's what they wanted out of us. That's what they wanted us to do. To sit back is to give in. To sit back is to give up. And we are never, have never been a nation that gives up. So I look forward to your comments. Lisa looks forward to your comments. And remember, let's make her day. Please get over to Restricted Republic. I want her seeing today those numbers climbing, and put that smile on her face so when she comes in here tomorrow, she's emboldened to do what she always does so impeccably well, provide you truth with facts, not fiction and narrative that the left continues to try to spoon-feed us every day. I can't thank you enough. Again, my name is Justice Knight. Thank you so much for allowing me to fill in for Lisa Haven. Look forward to seeing your comments. And until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.